Do you enjoy the act of patiently eliminating your target silently at range, but also want to occasionally blow up everything in your sights? If you answered yes, then the Bunker Buster is the build for you. Playing as this character is incredibly satisfying, as you can mix and match two very distinctive playstyles. The Bunker Buster has Strength 5, Perception 4, an Endurance of 6, Charisma 1, Intelligence of 5, Agility 7 and a Luck of 1. The Bunker Buster is a strong guy, and with his weapon of choice being pretty hefty, he needs to be. He's also got decent perception. Although not as good as some snipers, you don't need pinpoint accuracy when every shot you fire creates an explosion. Endurance of 6 helps to keep the Bunker Buster alive, and also represents the fact that he is a tough guy who keeps moving forward, no matter what. Unfortunately, he's not the most charismatic of guys. He may be friendly and happy to help, but this trusting nature, mixed in with the simple expression that sits on his face, has led to people not listening to him and thinking him stupid. As it turns out, he's actually got a good mind hiding behind that gormless expression, having a particular aptitude with mechanics and fixing broken gadgets. As such, his intelligence is set at 5. The Bunker Buster also has an agility of 7. This is going to make sneaking easy enough for us, and also gets us to the ninja perk immediately. Finally, a Luck of 1 represents how things just don't seem to go his way. He always just has to endure the challenges that come his way and try to do the best that he can. The essential perks for this build are Armourer, Rifleman, Gun Nut, Science and Ninja. Armourer is of course needed to make the armour you shall be wearing. Rifleman is going to make your main weapons far more powerful and make them considerably more efficient. In addition, Gun Nut and Science will make all your weapons reach their full potential by modding them out in the best way possible. Finally, Ninja is what ties this build into the sniping side of things. With this perk, your sneak attacks will end up doing 3.5 times damage. You can deal well over 1000 points of damage with your main gun from this perk, without having to use luck, chems, or any other temporary bonuses. The recommended perks I've included are Heavy Gunner, Strong Back, Demolition Expert, Adamantium Skeleton, Scrapper, and Scrounger. All of your secondary weapons are big guns, so will be improved by the Heavy Gunner perk. The extra damage added to these already considerably powerful guns will mean that even when stealth fails, you have nothing to worry about. Strong Back is here mostly to help with the added weight of your weapons. In addition, it's quite helpful to have if you want to fully loot an area for junk and then fast travel back to a workshop to deposit it all. Demolition Expert is a very powerful perk, which will not only boost the damage of your throwables, but also affects explosive weaponry, giving you another bonus. Adamantium Skeleton is going to almost counteract the downside of Demo Expert, which is the fact that at some point you will no doubt shoot a missile a little too close to yourself and cripple a limb or two. With this perk maxed out though, you have nothing to worry about. Scrapper will make it nice and easy for you to mod out your gear by scrapping weapons and armour you aren't using. Ammo can be a bit difficult for you to come across when playing this build, but with the Scrounger perk, this will help ensure you're never running on empty. In addition, there are 2 role-playing perks. These are Mr. Sandman and Sneak. Mr. Sandman is going to boost the sneak attack damage from your silenced Gauss Rifle, but other than this, it doesn't have much use for you, so it's not one to rush for. Sneak, on the other hand, is quite helpful, as it will make sniping easy for you. I personally didn't find myself having many problems with stealth, as the build has high agility and you want to keep your distance with sniping as it is. In addition, getting noticed isn't as bad for this character as it is for most snipers, as you're packing some serious heat for anyone who decides to mess with you. The Bunker Buster was born with a brilliant mind, but he was never able to truly develop it. People took one look at him and assumed he was simple-minded. His face naturally rested as a constant mix of bewilderment, confusion and happiness, leading to everyone ignoring the fact that he was naturally gifted. In addition, his social skills struggled to develop, meaning he had trouble communicating with people, further reinforcing the initial impression people made of him. This meant that in his school years he was often ignored by the other intellectuals, and even several of the teachers. The only people that really accepted him as he was were the jocks. The Bunker Buster was naturally strong, fast and tough, leading to him being sought after by pretty much every sports team at his school. Instead of focusing on improving his mind, he instead worked on his body. He may not have left school with the best grades, but he was incredibly physically fit. Several of the friends he had made from the teams he was on had decided to join the army, and the bunker buster felt that following them would be for the best. He would continue to be around people who respected him and also hoped to improve himself as a person through military training. During his training, his superior officers noticed he was strong enough to wield heavy weapons with ease, but was always very light-footed, being surprisingly stealthy despite his large stature. It was decided to train him both as a demolition expert and a sniper. It didn't take long for people to realise that he was also far smarter than most had given him credit for. When handed an energy weapon, he needed no explanation of how it worked, and was even able to calibrate it better than the engineers who had been working on it for years. After this, he was also trained as an engineer, making him an incredibly versatile soldier with skills for any situation. He was eventually drafted to a squad with a couple of his friends. The squad was told that he would function as both their sniper and support. This surprised the veterans of the squad, and after seeing him they were even more confused by the decision. Nevertheless, they didn't fight the decision and proceeded on to their next mission, clearing an enemy bunker of all hostiles. As you may have guessed, this mission led to the bunker buster gaining his name. He eliminated all of the sentries without being detected, and once the squad began to advance, he quickly made his way to the front, wielding a flamer to rapidly clear all of the rooms for his fellow soldiers. The mission was an unparalleled success, with not a single member of the squad sustaining an injury. The bunker buster carried on with these missions with the same level of success. He was clearly an amazing soldier, but he found that he wasn't all that lucky. Whilst on a simple base clearing mission, his squad was ambushed. He watched as his friends were shot down where they stood, and ended up taking several bullets himself before collapsing to the ground. He woke up in a prison cell in an unfamiliar location. The guard standing outside his cell was clearly a Chinese soldier, and he knew that he had been captured, and that the rest of the squad were either dead or in the same situation as he was. For weeks he was tortured by the Chinese, asking him for information about an advanced squad that he had never heard of. They kept on implying that he was a part of this squad, but he assured them he wasn't. Needless to say, they didn't believe him, and the torture continued. He had no idea how long he had been locked away, but the day eventually came when the prison he was in was assaulted. The first sign he had of the assault was when he saw the guard outside his cell drop to the ground, his throat slit wide open and blood gushing forth. He hadn't seen who had killed the man, but before he even considered investigating, he felt the impact of missiles detonating somewhere nearby. He knew he had to escape in order to ensure his survival. Despite his weakened state, he made his way through the prison, equipped with the only weapons he could scavenge off of dead guards on the way. By the time he made his way safely outside, it appeared that everyone assaulting the base had already left, and everyone inside of the prison was dead. Fleeing back to America took him several months, as he constantly had to hide from Chinese forces. Eventually, he was able to hide as a stowaway on a ship leaving China, and once he had escaped the country, the rest of his journey was slightly easier. Upon arrival in America, he discovered that he had been pronounced missing in action, and despite the grueling journey that he had taken to return to US soil, the army viewed him as no longer fit for duty, and he was honourably discharged. He settled down in a small house in Sanctuary Hills, and ended up living a pleasant civilian life, marrying, having a son, and overall just being fairly happy to be away from the fighting, and living just an easier life. His easy life doesn't last as long as he would like though, and when the bombs fall he will be forced to draw upon his considerable skills in order to try and save his son and survive in the Commonwealth. Although he shares ideals with the Brotherhood and thinks that their cause is just, he believes that they are going about it wrong. He truly feels that the only way to stop people from misusing advanced tech is to teach them how it works and to give easy access to the tech so that everyone is on a level playing field. This will lead to him joining the Minutemen. It still lets him eliminate the threat of the Institute, but also stops the Brotherhood from being the dominant technological force in the Commonwealth. There's no point replacing one reclusive technological superpower with another. The main companion I used for this build was Preston Garvey, simply because he is easy to build affinity with, and you don't have to go out of your way to obtain him. However, you can side yourself with any morally good companion that's competent with technology. Both Paladin Dance and Curie make good companions for the Bunker Buster, and, if you have the Automaton DLC, then you can build a robot buddy to travel the wastes with. This build is primarily a sniper, but with enough power to go toe-to-toe with pretty much any enemy. Use stealth attacks to knock out as many enemies as you can before being detected. Once you are in danger, switch to whichever weapon you are carrying around that's most appropriate. If it's a group at range, then whip out Party Starter to devastate them. If it's a tough melee enemy, use Sergeant Ash to immobilise them, and never forget the destructive power of Ashmaker for most straight encounters. If you are facing a particularly tough enemy, such as a behemoth or Mirelurk Queen, then you can always use Big Boy to wipe them out with one pull of a trigger. Thanks for watching my latest build. I hope you enjoyed this little amalgamation of big guns and sniping, and make sure to subscribe to the channel to see more builds like this one. Hit that like button, comment below, and I'll see you all in my next video.